Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt your legs hesitate just for a second? Maybe you thought, I sat too long. Or, it's just part of getting older. But what if that moment, that pause, that tiny wobble, was actually your body whispering something deeper? A quiet warning. A sign that the legs you've trusted for decades, the ones that carried you through work, raised a family, danced at weddings, might be starting to fade. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me because it's real and more common than most people ever talk about. It doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in, slowly, quietly. You skip the stairs and take the elevator. You hold on to the countertop when walking through the kitchen. You stop going for those afternoon walks because they just feel harder. And the scariest part? You can't even pinpoint when it started. One day, you're moving freely. The next, you realize you're moving less. Not because you want to, but because something inside you is hesitating. Here's what nobody really tells you. Your legs are often the first part of your body to weaken as you age. Long before your heart shows signs. Long before your memory starts to fade. Long before your energy noticeably dips. It's your legs. Why does this matter so much? Because when your legs weaken, so does your independence. It's harder to get up from a chair, harder to walk confidently down the street. And one misstep could lead to a fall, a fracture, a hospital stay, or worse, losing the freedom you've worked your whole life to protect. But this isn't a message of fear. It's a message of power, because there's good news here. You're not powerless, you're not broken, and you're certainly not alone. There are things you can do right now to strengthen your legs, protect your balance, and hold on tight to your independence. And it starts with awareness, recognizing that little signs like standing up slower or leaning on the wall aren't just getting old. They're your body's way of asking for help. And when you listen, you can change the story. So if you've ever felt a little unsteady, a little weaker than you remember, or you're just here because you love someone going through this, you're in the right place. Grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and stick with me. Because in this video, we're not just going to talk about what's happening, we're going to talk about how to fight back. And it starts right now with you. Part 1. Harold's Walk. The first sign you shouldn't ignore. Picture this. Mr. Harold, 74 years old, retired postman, still sharp as a tack, full of stories, and proud of his daily routine. Every morning, rain or shine, he'd lace up his sneakers, step out the door, and take a 30-minute walk around his neighborhood. It wasn't just exercise. It was his rhythm, his way to breathe, move, reflect, and stay grounded. But over the years, that daily walk started to shrink. 30 minutes became 20, then 15. Eventually, it was just a slow shuffle to the mailbox and back. When his daughter asked why, he just smiled and said, "Sweetheart, I'm just getting old." But let's stop there for a second. Because what Harold and so many others call just getting old is often your body quietly asking for help. One of the very first signs of muscle loss isn't pain. It's not a dramatic fall. It's subtle. It's things like taking longer to get up from a chair, feeling a little unsteady on the stairs, grabbing the countertop for balance, choosing not to walk as far even though you want to. And here's the medical name for what's happening. Sarcopenia. That's the natural loss of muscle mass that happens as we age, especially in our thighs. The big muscles in your legs, the quadriceps and hamstrings, are like the engine of your lower body. They carry your weight. They power your stride. They stabilize your balance. And when those muscles shrink, your independence starts to shrink with them. What's even more frustrating, most of the time, it goes unnoticed. You'll adjust. Push off with your arms a little harder. Hold the rail a little longer. Tell yourself, I'm just stiff today. Doctors often don't bring it up until someone falls, ends up in the ER, or loses mobility altogether. But by then, the damage is done. And that's the dangerous cycle. You move less, which causes more muscle loss, which makes movement harder, which leads to even less movement, until one day you're avoiding stairs entirely, or skipping activities you once loved. But here's the good news. There's a way to fight back, and it doesn't require a gym membership, fancy equipment, or hours of your time. Part 2. Strength starts in your living room. Let's get something clear. You don't need to become a bodybuilder to keep your legs strong. What you need is consistency, simplicity, and the right kind of movement that meets you where you are. Let's start with one easy exercise. Seated leg lifts. Sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, back straight. Now lift one leg, hold it out straight for a few seconds, and lower it down. Then switch sides. You don't have to count reps. Do it during commercials while watching your favorite show. Make it a habit, not a chore. Once that feels comfortable, try this. When getting up from a chair, don't use your hands. Instead, push up using just your legs. It'll feel tough at first, but that's the good kind of tough. The kind that builds strength. Want to level it up? Add light ankle weights or resistance bands. Even a small increase in resistance can bring your muscles back to life. And remember, every time you stand without help, every time you move without holding on, you're training your body to trust itself again. You're saying, I'm still here, I'm still strong, and I'm not done yet. Because the truth is, if you don't use it, you lose it. But when you use it wisely, even gently, you give your body the message it needs to rebuild. You don't have to run marathons. You don't have to lift heavy weights. You just have to start. Because these legs, they've carried you through decades. They've walked you through memories. They've stood strong for your family. Now it's your turn to stand strong for them. Even if it's one rep at a time, even if it's just a few steps today, it's a start. And that start can change everything. Part 3. Margaret, the silent warning from poor circulation. Let me introduce you to Margaret. She's 81, a retired schoolteacher with a heart of gold and a mind sharp as ever. Her days are filled with the soft clatter of knitting needles, classical music humming in the background, and a warm cup of tea always within arm's reach. But something changed. Margaret began noticing a strange chill in her feet, not just once in a while, but often. Even with thick wool socks and the heater running, her toes stayed icy cold. Some mornings, she'd feel a tingling sensation like pins and needles. Other times, she'd lose feeling altogether, as if her legs belonged to someone else. She brushed it off, thinking, just bad circulation, probably just age. But here's the truth. Those symptoms, cold feet, tingling, numbness, aren't minor. They're silent warnings. Red flags of poor blood flow to the legs, and more specifically, they could signal something called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. PAD is when the arteries that carry blood to your legs narrow due to plaque buildup. Think of it like a garden hose clogged with debris. No matter how much water you try to push through, the flow just isn't the same. For your body, that means less oxygen-rich blood reaching your leg muscles. And muscles without oxygen? They weaken. Fast? It might start small, walking shorter distances, feeling tired faster, or noticing your calves burn when you take the stairs. But over time, if circulation doesn't improve, your muscles start to shrink and lose power. The legs become less reliable. Falls become more likely. And that precious independence we've talked so much about, it starts to slip. But the story doesn't end there. There are things you can do right now to fight back. Start with small actions. When you're sitting, prop your legs up on a footrest or pillow to help blood return to your heart. Wiggle your toes, roll your ankles in slow circles. Flex and point your feet gently like you're stretching after a long nap. These movements may seem tiny, but they encourage blood flow. Stay hydrated. It sounds simple, but your blood moves best when it's well hydrated. Keep a water bottle nearby and take small sips throughout the day. Make walking a ritual. Even a slow walk around the house after meals can do wonders. Movement is circulation's best friend. And of course, nutrition plays a role too. Your blood vessels are delicate highways. They need care. Eating foods rich in omega-3s, like salmon or walnuts, antioxidants, like berries or leafy greens, and healthy fats, like olive oil, can help reduce inflammation and improve vessel flexibility. Don't let cold feet become your norm. Don't ignore the tingle. These aren't quirks of aging. They're messages. And if we listen, if we act, we can keep the blood flowing, the muscles working, and the legs steady. Because like Margaret, your story isn't over. It's just asking for a little extra care. Part 4. John, the Invisible Fear. Now let me tell you about John. 80 years old, a Vietnam veteran, a proud father, and above all, a gardener. John's backyard was more than dirt, and Plansit was his sanctuary. Rows of tomatoes, bursts of basil, climbing roses that bloomed with every season. He knew each leaf like an old friend. Then one day, while trimming the hedges, he stepped back and nearly tripped over a rake. He caught himself just in time. No bruises, no fall, but something inside him changed. The next morning, he skipped his usual gardening, and then the next, and the next. He told his daughter he was just taking a break. But the truth? He was afraid. Afraid he might fall. Afraid no one would be around. Afraid of what a fall could mean: a hospital stay, a broken hip, losing his independence. This is what so many people never talk about. The fear of falling. Not just the fall itself, but the fear. And that fear can be paralyzing. John didn't lose strength in his legs overnight. He lost confidence, and that loss of confidence led to less movement. Less movement led to weaker muscles, and weaker muscles increased his risk of falling. It's a vicious cycle, and it gets worse when people misunderstand. Family members might see someone like John and think, he's just getting lazy. But it's not laziness, it's self-preservation. So what can we do? Rebuilding confidence takes time. It starts with tiny steps, encouraging a short walk in a safe place like a hallway or even around the dining table. Using a cane or walker not as a crutch, but as a bridge back to movement. Practicing balance exercises while holding a chair, lifting one heel, then the other, gently shifting weight side to side. Every small success matters. Each step, each movement tells the brain, we're okay, we can do this. Because our legs aren't just about strength, they're about freedom. And freedom starts with believing we can trust our bodies again. John didn't return to full-on gardening overnight. But one day, he walked out with his daughter and pruned a single rose. Then another. That single action sparked something. He was still cautious, but he moved forward. Let this be a reminder. Recovery isn't a race. It's a quiet reclaiming of trust. One careful, hopeful, determined step at a time. Part 5. Nutrition, the 5 essential foods that keep your legs strong. You know, we often talk about exercise as the golden ticket to staying mobile as we age, and yes, it's incredibly important. But there's another piece of the puzzle that's just as vital and often overlooked: what we put on our plate. Your legs, those dependable limbs that have taken you through decades of life, need more than movement to stay strong. They need fuel, the right kind of fuel. And that fuel comes from food. Let's talk about 5 powerful foods that every senior should be eating to keep their legs energized, steady, and full of strength. And I'm not talking about complicated recipes or exotic ingredients you've never heard of. These are simple, accessible, and delicious options that you can incorporate into your meals today. Think of them as leg medicine served on a plate. 1. Salmon, the muscle healer and circulation booster. Let's start with salmon. This isn't just a tasty fish, it's a powerhouse when it comes to leg strength. Salmon is rich in high-quality protein, which your body uses to build and repair muscles. And as we age, we need more protein, not less, to fight off sarcopenia, that sneaky muscle loss that can creep in starting in our 60s. But salmon goes one step further. It's packed with omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats reduce inflammation and help improve blood flow throughout your body, including those hard-working legs. Better circulation means your muscles get more oxygen, which keeps them energized and helps them recover faster from daily activity. And no, you don't have to grill a fresh fillet every night. Canned salmon works just as well and is budget-friendly. Add it to a salad, mix it with a little mustard and dill for a quick sandwich, or pair it with some steamed veggies for dinner. Even eating salmon twice a week can make a noticeable difference in how your legs feel. 2. Leafy greens, the bone protectors. Now, let's talk about green spinach, kale, collard greens. You might not think of these as leg foods, but trust me, they are. Here's why. Strong legs aren't just about muscle, they need a solid framework. That means strong bones. Leafy greens are loaded with calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K, essential for maintaining bone density. Without these nutrients, your bones can become brittle, making you more prone to fractures. And here's the thing, many people over 50 don't get enough of them, especially if they're reducing dairy for digestive reasons. That's where these greens come in. Sneak them into your scrambled eggs in the morning. Add a handful to your soup or stew. Sauté them with garlic and olive oil for a quick side dish. Or toss them into a smoothie. You won't even taste them, I promise. A little goes a long way, and your legs will thank you for it. 3. Beans, the endurance builders. Beans are a triple threat. They're full of plant-based protein, which supports muscle repair. They've got iron and B vitamins to fight off fatigue. And they're rich in fiber, which keeps your blood sugar steady so you're not crashing and burning halfway through your walk. We're talking lentils, chickpeas, black beans, whatever you like best. They're inexpensive, versatile, and easy to prepare. Throw some into a soup. Make a quick bean salad with olive oil and herbs. Or spread some hummus on whole grain toast for a snack that fuels your legs without weighing you down. Some people avoid beans because they're worried about bloating. But here's a tip. Rinse canned beans well and start with small servings. Your body will adjust, and the benefits are worth it. 4. Sweet potatoes, the potassium powerhouse. Let's move on to something sweet potatoes. These vibrant orange gems are more than just comfort food. They're packed with potassium, a mineral that helps regulate muscle contractions and prevent cramps. If you've ever had that sudden Charlie horse in the middle of the night, your potassium levels might be the culprit. Sweet potatoes also contain beta-carotene. a powerful antioxidant that reduces inflammation in the joints and muscles. That means less stiffness, more movement, and better flexibility overall. They're incredibly easy to prepare. Bake them whole, slice them into wedges and roast them, or mash them with a bit of olive oil and cinnamon for a cozy side dish. And unlike white potatoes, they won't spike your blood sugar. 5. Eggs, the underrated muscle fuel. Last but definitely not least, eggs. These little protein bombs are often misunderstood, but they're actually one of the most complete foods you can eat, especially for older adults. One large egg contains about 6 grams of high-quality protein, plus essential amino acids that your body needs to repair muscle tissue. They also offer vitamin D, which supports bone health, and choline, which helps with nerve function, both critical for maintaining strong, steady legs. And they're quick. Boil a few to keep in the fridge for snacks. Scramble them with a handful of greens. Poach one over toast for a protein-packed breakfast. Eggs are versatile, affordable, and incredibly nutrient-dense, bringing it all together. So let's recap. Salmon to feed your muscles and improve circulation. Leafy greens to strengthen bones and reduce inflammation. Beans to power your endurance and steady your energy. Sweet potatoes to prevent cramps and ease joint pain. And eggs to fuel and repair muscle tissue. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight. Start small. Pick one new food to add each week. Try a new recipe. Share a meal with a friend. Your legs have carried you through a lifetime, and with the right fuel, they'll keep carrying you into the future, strong and steady. Remember, every bite is a step forward, towards strength, towards stability, toward the life you want to keep living. Let food be your ally on this journey. You've got this. Part 6. A hopeful ending, one step at a time. Let's take a deep breath together, because if you've made it this far, you've probably been nodding along. You've felt the wobble when standing, you've noticed your pace slow down, and maybe you've even sat quietly with the worry, is this just how it goes now? Let me be the first to say no, it's not. Weakening legs are not a sign to give up. They're not a sentence. They're a whisper from your body, asking for attention, for care, and yes, for love. And here's the beautiful thing. That whisper is not a goodbye. It's an invitation to rise. You see, the ability to stand tall, to walk steadily, to feel confident in your body, these are not privileges only for the young. They are rights, and they can be reclaimed. Not all at once. Not with dramatic transformations, but step by step, bite by bite, one habit at a time. Think about this. Every time you push up from your chair without using your arms, you're fighting back. Every time you reach for leafy greens instead of a bag of chips, you're fueling strength. Every slow, shaky leg lift during commercial breaks, that's not silly. That's courage in motion. And don't underestimate the quiet power of the kitchen. That corner of your home holds more healing than most people realize. Open your fridge. What's in there? A few eggs? A head of broccoli? Maybe a can of beans? Those aren't just groceries, they're little tools of freedom waiting to be used. Because this isn't about perfection. It's not about turning into an athlete overnight or cooking gourmet meals every day. It's about care. It's about waking up and saying, I matter enough to choose strength today. It starts with checking the labels, choosing the fish that nourishes instead of harms. It starts with adding greens to your soup or tossing a handful of lentils into your stew. It starts with walking to the mailbox instead of letting the fear of falling stop you. These are not small things. They are everything. I want to leave you with this. You are not alone. Not in your fears, not in your hopes, not in your desire to age with dignity. This community we're building here, Elderly Active Living It, exists for you. to remind you that every chapter of life still holds power, still holds purpose. So please, don't keep this journey to yourself. If something in this message struck a chord, share it. Tell us in the comments, have you noticed your legs weakening? What small changes have helped you? Or what's one thing you're willing to try this week? Because when we share, we grow. And when we grow, we rise together. And if this video felt like the encouragement you've been needing, if it helped you feel seen, heard, or just a little more hopeful, hit that subscribe button. Not because numbers matter, but because connection does. Because you matter. We're not just a YouTube channel, we're a lifeline, a gentle nudge, a hand to hold, and we're walking this path together. So today, whether you choose to stretch your legs, shop with more intention, or simply reflect on what strength means to you, know this. You are already taking a step forward. And I'll be right here cheering you on. Because aging doesn't mean giving up. It means rising one mindful, loving step at a time. See you in the next video. Until then, take care of those incredible legs. They've carried you this far. Let them carry you further.